for joining us, Tim.
Hi, thanks, Andrea. Glad to be here today. Glad to be doing this.
Yeah. So share with us, what did you do with your project with us with Global Six Sigma?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I was working with Clickhorn Properties Real Estate, and at the time, as we were looking at their processes, one of the biggest pain points with internal processes within the office is just their collections process. That's not a very exciting job within most real estate firms, and is typically one that, is always a process that it's hard to bring to 100%. As far as getting the money in that's owed for monthly rent, whether that be from residential or commercial tenants. Folks are in different walks of life. They've got challenging circumstances that come up. But Clickhorn Properties noticed that their percent of the collections that they bring in was dipping by a amount larger than normal. Just for some quick context, they have grown very rapidly in the last several years. They're a small business, but they went from a portfolio of about, let's say, probably about 150,000 to upwards of 3 million inside of about 6 years. So certainly quick growth for them, quick growth in the real estate industry. And so as they were ramping up their or scaling their business, they found that they had to scale all the other aspects of it too, including how they collected their rent on a monthly basis. So what we did was just lean into that process, looking through the collections process, and identified some all the DMAIC steps, right? Of identifying, okay, where is it currently at? What's the target threshold? What are some of the environments impacting this? What can we do to increase this rent roll? And we actually increased it by about 10%, 11%, which was 1% above our target. So definitely a successful project. COVID, I'm sure, has thrown a bit of a wrench in that process since then, but definitely a good improvement at the time, and something we're hoping to resume once the COVID environment dissipates a bit.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. Great success story. Now, taking that, how are you able to relate the training that you received through doing this project to the real world work environment? With what you do or anything with the company?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now I'm actually working for KPMG, one of the big four tax and then of course consulting firms in the US. So how I've been able to relate that experience with Clickhorn Properties to KPMG it's helped in several ways. One has been just to reemphasize the importance of getting buy-in from everyone as early in the project as possible, right? So when I say everyone, that's the process owners, making sure that they're on board with the process improvement that's about to take place, and then leadership as well. And then also the day-to-day contributors, the folks who are really creating the value, the folks who are reaching out for the collections, and just if not getting 100% buy-in upfront, it reemphasized the importance for me of just making sure everyone is well aware of what's happening, the expectations of them, what expectations they can have from you through the process. I think you can avoid probably about 80% of issues that come up on a project with stakeholders if you do a really good job of that communication on the front end. But that might be a bit of a bold claim. That's my intuition, not my studies.
And that is really what we hear from people that have been practicing Six Sigma for 30 years. It's you have to have that buy-in. And if you don't, it's not smooth sailing. So
Yeah.
It sounds like you followed all the steps.
Yeah,
That's
we
great.
did our best for sure.
That's great. Now, how was your experience in training with Global Six Sigma, the actual training process, working with the instructor?
Yeah, it was great. So initially, I walked into the black belt class probably with a little bit less of a statistical context than I should have had, and that was my own fault. The folks on the front end office of Global Six Sigma were excellent. They really prepared me to understand, okay, here are the areas that you might be strong in based on your context with Lean Six Sigma and continuous improvement. And then here's some areas you might want to do some preemptive study on. And so, the math side has always been a challenge for me. That's not something that comes naturally. But my instructor at the time was Greg Foster, and did an excellent job of helping calm the nerves of wondering what I got myself into in that class, and really presented the information well, but especially as a coach, um, it was really effective through the project, because I think as folks who are new to continuous improvement or Lean Six Sigma, as they approach their project, so many times you can fall into analysis paralysis, where you've got all of these myriad of tools in front of you, all these statistical analyses you could pick from, and it's hard to know which ones you should pick. Sometimes there's a definite right answer. Sometimes you want to run it a couple different ways, and it's easy to get lost in that, or look at it and think you have to do everything. So from a coaching standpoint, my instructor did a really excellent job of just helping me stay focused, really weed out a lot of the unnecessary work, and keep our sites focused on what we were trying to improve, and only measuring that. And then we worried about residual effects as well, but certainly from a focus standpoint, that was incredibly beneficial.
That's great. And the support that you received during the course of working on the project, how was that? That was helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. My instructor was always available as needed. I could reach out easily, and they provided their personal cell phone, which was great. And yeah, definitely there on an ad hoc basis when I need the support. So that was excellent.
That's great. Wow. Sounds like it was really an overall success between what you did for the company and working with us and getting the training you need and setting yourself up to for future work and all that opportunities. So that's fantastic, Tim.
It was, and I also got to do a training. I live in Western PA, where it can be cold and dreary, and I got to do a training in San Francisco uh, during the fall, which is an awesome time to be in San Francisco. So that was an added plus for me, and I don't often get out west.
You get that's
So
right. It helps
yeah,
you to get out. Exactly.
yeah, get to see the sun for once.
Right. Good to hear. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experiences with us. We hope this inspires future students and working with Six Sigma and the practices and how it can benefit companies and organizations.
Great, thanks so much, Andrea.
Thank you.